Hello everybody. So I'm building the character generation system in the Galactic Line, and this is not it. This is EVE Online. It's free, so you might as well look at the character generation system. It's a great example of a modern AAA style character generation system. It's worth looking at how they do things and how I'm planning on doing things and the places where they're similar and the places where they're different. First off, all of this stuff over here, with the exception of shape, everything else is the same way I'm doing it, so it's not worth really looking at. We're going to focus on the mesh manipulation because that's where the differences crop up, and that's where we can have a little bit of discussion on the matter. As with most of the modern AAA games out there, when you mouse over the character, it highlights the part of the mesh that you're going to be editing. And that's true on the face, and it's true on the body. When you select a place, you can move it around to adjust your character in any way you'd like to try and make your character look the way you want your character to look. This is exactly the same as the balls that I'm using. It's just that the balls are a lot easier for a solo programmer to build on a temporary mesh. I might change over to adjusting the mesh with on-mesh glowy bits like this, because it sure does look nicer, but there are a couple of reasons that I'm hesitant to do so. One of the big reasons is that I like to allow the characters to be adjusted on a vast scale, whereas all of the AAA games these days have custom meshes for each particular sub-character type. I don't want to do that. I want to have only a couple of meshes for everybody in the universe, so I need to have character models that can be really stretched and shaped like Play-Doh. So, for example, I have a large glowing ball over here where you can grab it and you can pull the head sideways to make the head literally just wider or narrower or taller or shorter. So I can drag the whole mouth down or up. You can adjust the eyes in this game. Not very far, but a little bit. And that is something I also allow, but I allow it on a much more dramatic scale because I want to allow you to have much wider variation of characters on the same mesh. Similarly, this nose here, the widest it can get is that, which is like you wouldn't even think of this person as having a wide nose if you saw them on the street. It's pretty normal. The biggest nose you can get, it looks kind of slightly large. I'm going to let the characters get pushed a lot further. I'm also going to have a slightly less realistic style. I'm going to go ahead and let the facial features get a little out of hand and the body morphs get a little out of hand because that's the way that it makes the most sense when you have a dozen characters and you need to tell the difference between them at a glance. Similarly, if we zoom out, we can adjust the various character body elements, but what we can't do is make a character that is substantially differently shaped. So that's as heavy as we can get her using these morphs, and that's not really very heavy. So it's not particularly significant. You can't change the length of her arms or legs. You can't make her real fat or real skinny. You can't make her short or tall. All of those things are outside of this mesh's capabilities, and that is kind of a shame. I understand why they do that, because it makes everything else easier. The biggest thing it makes easier is that if you scale your bones, all of your animations have to be made with the understanding that the bones might not be where you think they are going to be. I allow for that, but I do have some issues with Unity misimporting some animations, which I'll have to deal with. But fundamentally, since I approach the entire concept as bones are going to get scaled, then all of my animations are built around that concept and it works okay. So I can have a wider set of body and face morphs without compromising the animations. Of course, I don't know if I'll ever be able to create a mesh that's as high quality as the one they've got here or any of the other character meshes they've got. Now, I said that there were a couple of times where there would be like a large ball floating over here and you could widen or narrow the face down and all that stuff, and you can have like, there's a ball that floats right here at the moment. You grab it and you can make the character taller or shorter just by dragging it up or down. Those have all been offloaded over here onto these sliders. I think this is the wrong way to do it. It doesn't feel natural to me to be able to have sliders over here while you're editing meshes over here. I much prefer the idea of keeping it all in the same place. So if you're over here editing a mesh like this, I want you to be able to just continue to edit the mesh and get the slider performance out of it, rather than having to go over here and adjust a slider. And that's one of the reasons I still haven't decided on whether to give up on the balls, the floating balls, because one of the big advantages of the floating balls is that you can just have larger floating balls that are off to the side that clearly control some fundamental aspect of the face or the body. Muscularity in this case, I think it is just texture based. Yeah, I don't think there's any mesh changes. There's a lot, maybe there are a little bit. Anyway, there are a lot of added textures we can put on. Most of this stuff is almost identical to the way I'm doing it, just with differences in exact methods of display. The hair is really disappointing, but the hair is always really disappointing in these games. There is no game using this character generation system that has good hair. This particular haircut looks good up here, but it falls apart back here. It's just awful. I don't know whether or not I'll be able to make better hair than this, but I'm pretty sure I can make this good hair. It is the body morph and the face morph, the body mesh and the face mesh that I'm worried about. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, we go back here. This is one of the 4 factions, and they have 6 distinct meshes for this one faction. If we were to go and pick a different faction, we would get a different set of meshes. So here are 6 more meshes that are custom for this faction. So that's a lot of different meshes, and it's obviously not viable for me to do that. Instead, I'm going to allow you to really, really adjust the hell out of the one mesh. Anyway, I just thought I would make a little bit video about it for no particular reason. Let me know if you have any character generation systems that are substantially different than this. Don't just tell me to go look at Blackrock Desert or The Sims 4 because those systems are fundamentally the same. Have a good one.